Hey guys, welcome back to my booktube channel, I Read a Little. If you're new here, my name is Talia, and in today's video I'm going to be going over the books that I plan on reading in the month of January. Now, before I get into talking about the books that I plan on reading, I just want to apologise for the clear lack of content that has been on this channel in recent months. So I haven't uploaded a September, October or November wrap-up. And I've just had some stuff going on in my personal life that has meant that, one, I haven't had time to read books, I've been incredibly busy, and two, I haven't been in the right mental headspace that I have wanted to read books or create content. Fortunately, throughout December I've been feeling a lot better, especially into the coming new year, so I'm hoping to start creating more content for you guys. I will be putting up a December wrap up just because it's only January now, so I probably could still put that up and it would still be relevant, and that should be coming up shortly after this video, fingers crossed. So I'm super excited to kind of announce that in the month of January, not in the month of January, in the year of 2019, I am going to be doing a no spend year challenge, and people tend to cater this challenge to their own personal lives. So essentially the no spend year means that you spend no money throughout an entire year, but you can cater it and set yourself certain rules of things that you're allowed to spend your money on based on what your current circumstances are. So for my particular circumstances, I will be spending money on food, and I will be spending money on travelling to university because I don't drive, so I have to pay for the train. And those are kind of necessities that I can't really live without. Fortunately, I live at home, so I don't have to pay rent, and the only bills that I have going out on my mobile and Spotify. So apart from that, I am literally spending no other money. And the reason that I'm mentioning this in this video is because it will be very relevant to the content that I'm putting on this channel. So I'm not going to be allowed to buy books for an entire year, but I will literally just be reading library books for the entire year, or if I can obtain some free books somehow, maybe I will be reading them. I do have a certain number of books still on my bookshelf that I haven't read. My bookshelf is very small. I didn't own that many books anyway because I had a massive unhaul. I probably have about 30 to 35 books on my shelf that I haven't read, some of which I've owned for maybe 10 to 15 years and still haven't read. So I think this is going to be a really good opportunity to work through my personal library, and I'm also quite excited to use the challenge as a way of utilising the resources at my local library. Unfortunately, in the UK, or particularly in the area that I live in, our libraries aren't that great and we don't have a fantastic selection of books. You can obtain books from other branches in the local area, but you have to pay to have them reserved and brought to your branch. I think it costs like 75p, and obviously due to my no spend challenge I'm not allowed to do that. So I'm literally only going to be able to take books out that are in the library at the moment in time that I go there. But actually I think that's like really exciting. I really want to use the opportunity to maybe create some like fun challenges for myself, so that the year doesn't get boring, the fact that I can't buy books. So I'm kind of thinking like maybe a month by month challenge, so like one month I can only take out green covers, or another month I can only take out authors with like a double-barreled name, etc, etc, you get the idea. And I think that would be really fun. Like, I think that I am very quickly gonna get bored of the fact that I can't buy books, so I need to find a way of making it still kind of exciting and introducing myself to new genres, perhaps, and new authors. So if you guys have any ideas of like possible challenges that I could utilise at the library, please let me know in the comment down below, and I may do that. I don't know if I will end up doing the challenges, but we will see how we get on throughout the year, and if I find myself getting bored, I just think that would be something fun to do. So now getting into the books that I'm going to be reading in January, I have decided that I'm going to read the books on my bookshelf first before I take books out of the library. So I've put all of the books I haven't read into this pot, and I think I'm going to pick out 4 this month, because I already have a couple of books that I'm reading left over from December, and I'm also going to be reading The Passage this month by James Cronin, I think is the author, as part of Books with Emily Fox's reading group. She's just created a reading group for the massive books challenge that she's been participating in the last year. So basically she's trying to make her way through all of the books that she owns that are quite long, so like 500 and above pages I believe, and she's decided to create a book group so that we can all read along with her, which I think is really nice. And this month she is reading The Passage, so I've managed to find a free copy online. Obviously I can't buy it, so I'm going to be reading that, which means that I was going to pick 5 out of this and I'm only going to pick 4 because I'm counting that book. I think it's about vampires. I think it's like, I have no idea what it's about. I think it's kind of a historical vampire type book, which normally isn't my thing, but I'm really excited to participate in more community stuff this year with BookTube, so I thought it'd be really nice to read along. So yeah, looking forward to reading that one. Also on my January TBR, I had Saw Kill Girls by Claire Legrand. I actually finished this today, but I'm still including it on January TBR because obviously I read it in January, so this will be in my January wrap-up. I really enjoyed it. It was very weird. I will be talking about it more in the wrap-up, but let me know if you've read this, guys. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. And then secondly, I'm actually still reading at the moment Brandon Sanderson's Skyward. I started reading this in December and sort of I'm only 160 pages in, so I'm still continuing it into January, and I really want to recommend this to you if you kind of have been thinking about delving into the world of Brandon Sanderson but perhaps have felt a bit intimidated by his other story collections. I know that the Mistborn trilogy can seem like quite a mammoth book series to start reading, and the world of Brandon Sanderson can be quite complex in regards to his fantasy books. Whereas this one is a young adult science fiction book. He's never written young adult before, and I don't think he's ever written a science fiction novel, and it just acts as a really good jumping on point if you've wanted to read this particular author but have felt like you're not sure where to start. I would really recommend reading this book. It's really enjoyable, and some of his books, the world and the magic can be quite complex, so I think perhaps reading his attempt at kind of young adult might be a bit of an easier read as an introduction to the author's style. This book is so good. I'm really enjoying it. It's kind of like Ender's Game, Ready Player One kind of vibes, and obviously I will talk more about it in my wrap up, but definitely recommend. I cannot wait to see where the story goes, and it's also, I think, going to be a trilogy, so it really serves as a good opportunity to kind of latch on to a fresh Brandon Sanderson series if you're interested in beginning to read his stuff. Okay guys, so I've got my plant pot here full of my books. I'm really sorry it's a plant pot, like I don't have a container to put any of this stuff in. Last year, like the year of 2018 or the latter part of 2018, I've really adopted a minimalist lifestyle, so I'm trying to reduce the kind of amount of materialistic possessions that I own and veered towards more practicality. So I didn't actually have a container to put my books in. Unfortunately one of my plants died, so I now have this container, so we're using this, I suppose. So yeah, just working with what we've got. So yeah, I'm just going to stick my hand in here, I'm going to mix them round a bit, and then I'm just going to pick, oh god, I picked 2, okay, put one back. We put the chunky one back in, and we've picked out this little slip. Oh god, okay, that's okay. I can see what it is already. It's not going to focus, guys, so you're just going to have to trust that I've picked the right one out that I'm saying. So I picked out half of a yellow sun. It's on my bookshelf over there, so I'll just grab it. Yeah, we have half of a yellow sun by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I read one of their books last year, I think, and really enjoyed it, so I wanted to read more of their stuff. I'll just read the back to you because I don't really know what this book is about. I think I bought it in a charity shop, saw it was that author and was like, oh yeah, I want to read more. So yeah, I'll just read out the blurb. So, in 1960s Nigeria, a country blighted by civil war, 3 lives intersect. Ugwu, a boy from a poor village, works as a houseboy for a university lecturer. Alana, a young woman, has abandoned her life of privilege in Lagos to live with her charismatic new lover, the professor. The third is Richard, a shy Englishman enthralled to Alana's enigmatic twin sister. When the shocking horror of the war engulfs them, their loyalties are severely tested as they are pulled apart and thrown together in ways that none of them imagined. I really like the sound sound of that, and this year I want to read more diverse books, so I'm really excited that I picked this one out. Hopefully it will be good. It says it was an Orange Broadband Prize winner in 2007. I think that was probably around the time that I bought this book, actually. Okay, so that's book one, guys. Let's pick another one. I feel like I have to show me picking it, or else you like won't believe that I didn't just put it back because I didn't like what I picked out. We got one. Let's see what it is. God, I've like folded it up really. Oh no, I don't want to read this. I'm just gonna get it up on my phone because I've only written like half the title of the book and I can't remember what the rest of it's called. Okay, so the book that I picked out, I'd only written Quiet on here, which is like not all of the titles, so I had to look the book up on Goodreads. So, because I have it on Kindle, I don't have a physical copy. So the book is Quiet, The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Thinking. I'll put a picture up here of what it looks like. It's by Susan Cain. And I basically bought this book as a non-fiction book, and I really like the sound of it because I am incredibly introverted. You are misunderstood by a lot of people. People generally think that I'm really overconfident and cocky, and if I'm really, really quiet, they just think I'm a snob and I don't like them, and I just think it's really unhealthy to make those sorts of assumptions. So I bought this book because I wanted to read, it was just about introverted people, and I kind of thought, actually this sounds really interesting, so I'll read the blurb out to you guys. At least 1/3 of people we know are introverts. They are the ones who prefer listening to speaking, who innovate and create but dislike self-promotion, who favour working on their own over working in teams. It is to introverts, Rosa Parks, Chopin, Dr. Seuss, Steve Wozniak, that we owe many of the great contributions to society. In Quiet, Susan Cain argues that we dramatically undervalue introverts and shows how much we lose in doing so. She charts the rise of the extrovert ideal throughout the 20th century and explores how deeply it has come to permeate our culture. She also introduces us to successful introverts, from a witty, high-octane public speaker who recharges in solitude after his talks, to a record-breaking salesman who quietly taps into the power of questions. Passionately argued, superbly researched, and filled with indelible stories of real people, Quiet has the power to permanently change how we see introverts, and equally important, how they see themselves. The idea of introverts could be quite misleading. I think just because you could be considered introverted doesn't mean you're necessarily not a good public speaker or you can't stand up for what you believe in. I'm really good when I'm around public people. Like I come off as being very confident when I'm working in a group. That doesn't mean that when I haven't spent time with individuals that it doesn't heavily affect me in a negative way and I have to go away and recharge in solitude. And I think a lot of people misunderstand that and think that introverts just aren't really outspoken and tend to keep to themselves and are very inward, and that's not necessarily always how introverted people present. I didn't really want to read a non-fiction this month, but I think it would be really valuable to finish this book from my own personal perspective as someone who is quite introverted. I hope I don't get another non-fiction though, because I don't really want to read 2 non-fiction books in 1 month. So yeah, let's just pick another one. Is that 2? Is that 1 or 2? Okay. Oh no! Oh no! Oh guys, I got a really bad one. Okay, we're just gonna do it, Okay, so just a disclaimer, I own a lot of Brandon Sanderson books I haven't read, and I also own a lot of Haruki Murakami books I haven't read because I really love that particular author, and unfortunately I appear to have picked out a Haruki Murakami book. So I picked out the Wind Up Bird Chronicles, which I know is very thick. Okay guys, so I just went and grabbed it. So here we are, Haruki Murakami, the Wind Up Bird Chronicles. So I'll just read out the blurb to you guys who've never heard of his books before. So Toru Okada's cat has disappeared, and this has unsettled his wife, who is herself growing more distant every day. Then there are the increasingly explicit telephone calls he has started receiving. As this compelling story unfolds, the tidy suburban realities of Okada's vague and blameless life, spent cooking, reading, listening to jazz and opera, and drinking beer at the kitchen table, are turned inside out, and he embarks on a bizarre journey guided, however obscurely, by a succession of characters, each with a tale to tell. Murakami's books can be very odd, and a lot of the time you have to take your kind of own meaning away from them. There isn't necessarily always a really clear-cut message at the end of his books. Sometimes it does require a little bit of reading between the lines to kind of garner your own thoughts and feelings about what maybe he was trying to tell you. You can tell I've had this book for a really long time because it's gone kind of mouldy and yellowing on the edges. I think is the receipt in the front? Oh my god, I thought the receipt was in the front then. No, the receipt's not here. I've owned this book for maybe 15 years, maybe 10-15 years, and I still haven't read it. It's very long. Let me just see how long it is. 600 pages. I'm actually really looking forward to getting back into Haruki Murakami. I find his books quite intimidating and I really have to be in the mood to read them, but I haven't read one of his books for a really long time, so this might just be what I need for January. I don't know. I would definitely recommend, if you've never read a Haruki Murakami book, to read Norwegian Wood. It's one of my favourite books of all time. And I would also definitely recommend, if you're someone who's into reading non-fiction, reading his non-fiction book, What I Think About When I Think About Running, or What I Talk About When I Talk About Running. It's one of those two. And it's basically a memoir of his experience running ultra marathons and marathons, and taking up running from a much older age. I don't think he took up running until like his 40s or 50s, and basically began running ultra marathons. I think he ran from like one part of a country to the other or something like that, and I really enjoyed the book. If you like non-fiction and you like sort of sporting books or books about running, would definitely recommend that book. Okay, I've taken, how many books have I taken out? 3 books, so I need to pick one more. Okay. I'm scared. If I get another Haruki Murakami, I'm putting it back. I'm sorry guys, but I'm not reading 2 in 1 month. I've got one, it's tiny. I'm not reading this book. No, I'm sorry, I'm not reading this book. I'm allowing myself a putback. I got the Gilead. I just like, I need something like, I need something a bit more light-hearted. I can't read the Gilead at the moment. It's like religious and I'm not reading that, guys. I'm really sorry. Oh no, one of them's unfolded. Hang on, let me just fold it back up. So the Gilead is one of those books that I have been putting off reading for a really long time. I bought it on Kindle. I'm just folding this one back up, guys, because it's falling apart. I bought it on Kindle as part of a book group when I was a member of like a real book group that I went to in real life, not an online one. And I didn't end up reading it, and it's like, I think it's quite religious and it's just not my jam, and I'm really not, I don't want to read a religious book this month, and I think that's just quite heavy alongside the non-fiction book that I've got to read, so I'm just going to put that back and pick another one. I promise I won't do loads of putbacks, but that is just, I don't want to read that this month. Oh yeah, I've got another one, so this one I definitely have to read. Can't put it back. So if it's a Murakami one, I'm going to be really upset. Because I can't put it back. What is it? 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 Oh fuck! No! No, no, no! I might have to put this back, guys. I got Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson, the second Mistborn book. And it's really long. Like, it's a really long book. I don't think I'm going to be able to read that many books this month. Or that, like... Okay. No, we're going to do it. We're having it. We're doing it. No, Talia, you're not putting it back. The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. It's very thick. It's over maybe 800 pages. No, 750 odd pages. So this is a continuation of the first book in the Mistborn trilogy. Or is it? Is it the second book in the Mistborn? Yeah, it is the second book in the Mistborn. So basically Mistborn followed a young girl called Vin who has particular powers. She's basically a Mistborn, I think, and I'm gonna have to read a summary because I cannot remember what happened. Mistborns have the ability to melt particular types of metals, and this particular type of metal that they melt gives them certain types of power. Basically there was kind of an evil lord in the first book, and she had to join a resistance and try to overthrow an evil empire that was controlling the lands, and book 2 kind of is a continuation of that story. Lots more fighting, lots more armies attacking, wars, and all this sorts of crap, and following all of the different characters that were introduced in the first book. I don't really want to talk about it too much because obviously it's the second book and it's a spoiler if you've not read the first one, but Brandon Sanderson is just excellent at writing epic fantasies and creating these immensely rich worlds of magic, and I would definitely recommend reading his series. Again, like, perhaps start Skyward first and go into more his science fiction stuff, but he's written a lot of standalones as well, like Warbreaker and things like that, but they tend to all be connected, I think, and in the same kind of world. So you're gonna have to probably pick up the Mistborn trilogy eventually. So yeah, that's what I'm reading in January. Yay! Let's just get a pile of them to really like gain an appreciation of the size of books that I have to read this January. Yay! And also Quiet, which is probably going to be the one that I don't read. But yay, fun times, guys. Very thick books. Yeah, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching the video. So we have Well of Ascension. Oh no, shit, we have The Passage by... What is going on with my hair? We have The Passage by Mr. Cronin. I think his first name's James, I'm not sure. We have Well of Ascension, Wind Up Bird Chronicle, Half of a Yellow Sun, Skyward, and Quiet introvert book. So yeah, that's all the books that I plan on reading in January, hopefully. Leave a comment down below, guys, if you've read any of those books and what you thought of them. Also, if you have any ideas for the library challenge that I was talking about earlier, also leave a comment, and I will catch you guys in my next upload, which should be my December wrap up.